Hello! Another day, another Sunday tea. Welcome to Sunday Tea, a series where we talk about creativity, slowing down. We basically catch up over a cup of tea every week and talk about what we've learned. If you're new here, I'm Valerie. I am a musician. And if you're not new here and you're back for another Sunday tea, I'm so glad to have you. Thank you. It has been very nice. I've gotten a lot of cute messages after the last episode. So yeah, thank you about that. It's nice hearing about your guys' experience in the creative field and kind of growing a bit more of a community here. So thank you for all the lovely messages people have sent me. Yeah. So as always, I'll be pouring my tea. Today's tea is still ginger and tea. Ginger and lemon. Because I've been traveling a bit. That was so loud. Anyway, I've been traveling a bit and I can already feel it in my throat. And your girl does not have time to get ill. And I know tea will not help that completely, but you know what? Placebo can work and it will work in this occasion, okay? So let me be a bit delusional. Anyway, for this week's episode, I kind of wanted to speak about how being creative, you need to wear a lot of different hats and how to stay grounded in them. That's been the main topic of this week. So I thought we'd talk about it. So just I need to stop making that face every time. I did that the other day with people that don't know me. They're like, whoa. When I make like, but it's just me being a bit, I don't know, frustrated and trying to showcase that in a funny way. Anyway, this week has definitely been one of those weeks where I kind of realized how many different creative hats I have to wear sometimes. Now, this week, just quickly, I did a full weekend songwriting camp, produced for others, mixed for others, got picked to be mentored at Abbey Road Studios by the lovely team of engineers, all women and non-binary people, which was crazy. Had to plan my band, all the live aspects, continue with that, and produce for myself, basically. So in that sense, there were definitely a lot of different roles in all of those things, apart from the obvious of the role itself being different. There's also different mental headspace you have to be in, how you communicate with others. So like, for example, if I'm in a room as an artist for the songwriting camp, for example, I have to be open to sharing my stories, talking about what I want to write and all that, versus being an engineer or assisting or shadowing like I did at Abbey Roads, where you're just absorbing a lot of information and not really directing the session. And from then going to working with people, the social energy with that, and then having to work on your own stuff and not have someone say like, yes, perfect, that sounds great, let's move on. You're just your own critic. It's just you and your mind being like, actually, what if we do it this way? And what if we do it that way? And you're just having to battle with yourself on that. Yeah, it just, obviously it's different. It's a given. But my point is sometimes being creative after just jumping back and forth from different roles can feel like a lot if you don't have time to kind of reset and ground yourself to basically come back and connect with your creativity and you as an artist. However, being around so many creative people this week, and honestly always, it never fails to remind me of why I love doing what I do. The songwriting camp was lovely in the sense of everyone being so honest and vulnerable and just happy to be there, so open-minded, and it's just so fun making music with people you haven't made music with before and kind of approaching the creative process differently to what you are used to. Now, also getting the privilege to be in the presence of such an electric environment like at Abbey Roads, I mean, how is it not going to inspire you? You know, I think sometimes as creatives, it's easy to get stressed or think that there's a lot to do. And because you're not always seeing someone else doing the same every day in front of you, I mean, you catch up with friends, but you're not physically seeing them there. You're having to process that alone and like keep yourself motivated. But what was great with Abbey Road was a quick reminder of like everyone is doing so much and they're so happy. And I'm not talking about like happy in like an unhealthy way of like, oh, they're overworked and they're not complaining. No, it's just like you're surrounded by people that really love what they do and they really are like, they're contributing so much to that energy that Abbey Road has. So it was just great seeing people in a hectic environment having such a great, vibrant aura. Yeah, I don't know how else to describe it. It was just really, really cool. And also, I was speaking to a friend of mine and she said, stress just means there's a lot of exciting things happening right now. And I love that. Again, obviously, there's a difference between good busy and unhealthy busy. But that quote just came at a perfect timing during my week, because that just kind of made me be like, oh, wait, well, let me zoom out and really appreciate this. Because yeah, it might feel like stress because there's like maybe underlying butterflies, or like you just feel it in your body, like there's a lot to do and you're a bit maybe hyperactive, or you're keeping tabs open in your mind of the things that need to happen and all that. But at the end of the day, I'm buzzing for all these things to happen. Like I'm so excited. Like it just means that there are cool projects happening, that things are rolling, things are growing, and I just want to appreciate it. I just want to appreciate it and kind of change that mindset, because no one needs stress. And especially if you're interpreting it as stress when it doesn't even have to be. So thank you, Nuria. I'll take that. But that also leads me to the next thing, which is I definitely noticed how much my energy changed after that quote, because that meant that I was actually being present. I was actually being present during every single thing I was doing. Because what was happening in the beginning of the week was that I was having all these tabs opened in my mind of like, oh, I need to reply to this person, I need to do that, tomorrow I only have this half an hour free to cook lunch, or, you know, all these things. And then I was like, wait, let me just have an ongoing list, like note on my phone, where I just write down a couple of random things that I think of throughout the day, and then I don't have to look at it, and let me just really be present. And so I think those things just went a bit hand in hand, really zooming out and appreciating it, and feeling less stressed, not only because of the change of perspective, but because I wasn't acting as if I had even less time than what I actually did. So yeah, I wasn't just thinking about the next thing, I was actually being the person that needed to be doing the things I was doing. Does that make sense? Because if you're constantly running around embodying someone that has very little time, you obviously will feel more stressed. And although that sounds obvious, there's a lot of people, and me included, that sometimes we have like 15-minute break and we're like forcing that food in, or scrolling whilst you're doing that, replying to someone whilst you're eating, or being in the session and thinking of the next thing and all that. And you're just making it worse, because you're just manifesting this whole lifestyle of less time than what you have. All that ramble just to say that maybe what the older people have said about being present actually can have quite a noticeable effect very quickly. It definitely was a change throughout the week, and I was able to not feel like I was just floating through the days and running. You can have a busy schedule and be more present, and it'll feel less busy. Who would have thought? Sounds so obvious. Moving on. Being more present definitely helped. Feeling more grounded in between changing creative roles throughout the day or from one day to another. However, what I've been really missing are the morning pages. For people that are new here, I've started doing the artist way. And with that, you have to do morning pages. So every day you write 3 pages of just whatever you want, anything that comes to mind. I have another episode where I talk a bit more about my initial thoughts around it and how I felt it affect my creativity in my everyday life. But I will do an update on how it's going midway now in the artist way journey. And you're supposed to do it throughout the whole 12 weeks, but I've not been able to really do it this week. I feel a massive change. I really do miss it. It does allow for a little mental clarity in the morning. So I'm excited to do more of that next week. The last thing I'm gonna say, I also have noticed that sometimes I catch myself saying like, oh my god, I cannot wait till I'm a full-time this or a full-time that, or I am at this level and I can do this. And then I'm like, yeah, I get I get what I mean, but then again, you're allowed to do that already from now on. So let's say you want to be a full-time songwriter and ignore the fact that you might have like part-time job right now, because let's be honest, in this creative and economical state of the world, most creatives are. But put that away and think about the free days you have. Let's say you want to be a full-time songwriter. Instead of just being like, oh my god, I can't wait till I can do that from morning to night. You can do that already. You can be strict with yourself and be like, I'm gonna act like I have this creative full-time job from 9 to 5. If that's my ideal routine in the future, to not work past a certain time maybe and have that consistency going through and not just writing once a week, then do that. Push yourself. I've kind of had to have some hard truths with myself and be like, if this and this and this is something you want to prioritize and you're just waiting for the right moment, that's just silly. You can't just include that right now and just live the life you want to live. Like, I feel like I'm saying a bunch of things that are obvious and saying them out loud feels a bit obvious. But I don't know. I've just been speaking to friends, and sometimes I think I just hear it from the outside, where we are constantly referring to the wishes and dreams of how it's going to be in the future. And then I'm like, but okay, actually let me implement more of future me in present me. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I guess I'll say something more about that on the next episode. We'll see. But just to kind of end this and close this off, if you are in a moment in your creative journey where things are feeling a bit all over the place with little structure, it might just mean there is a lot growing at once, and that's exciting and that's cool and that's fun. And the things that will not be useful, they will just slowly fade away. So I promise you, things will fall into place and it'll be all good. And if not, you can rant to me about it and we can bond over those moments too. Because there definitely are some moments. And if you are also having some moments that feel less calm or a bit all over the place, just remember they don't always have to be slowed down, or you don't always have to have more time. Maybe to try and be very actively more present in everything you do, especially in those periods where you genuinely cannot say no to anything during that week. So that's it from me. I hope you have a lovely week. Thank you so much for coming back. Tell me if you have any other tips for me or anyone else that is going through a little creative season that doesn't feel that structured, or if you learned something new throughout this week, we can talk about it next week. So thank you so much for having tea with me. My battery's about to die. See you again next week. Bye.